Hey everyone, it's Jason Dunn here from Digital Home Thoughts, and today we're looking at a slightly different type of product. This is the Nikon D5000. So this is a digital SLR. I spend a lot of my time looking at notebooks and netbooks and laptops and MP3 players and stuff like that, but I thought it would be interesting to take a look at a camera. Now it's a little bit different, doing a video unboxing or first impressions about a digital camera, but I figure, hey, it's like any other product. I'll unpack it, I'll walk you through what I think about it, and then afterwards I'll follow up and do an actual review. So this is something I've actually purchased from Nikon. So this is a camera that I did a bit of research on, and I was looking to upgrade. I had a Nikon D60. It's a nice little camera. I use it as a backup. My main camera is a Nikon D300, but I was looking for a digital SLR that had a video capture capability, but I also didn't want something that was too expensive. So Nikon has a D300S that's coming out very shortly at the time I'm making this video, but I'm not entirely convinced that it offers enough for me over the D300, whereas the D5000 is a fair step up from the D60. So that's why I decided I would check it out. Alright, so we just have some paperwork here, some manuals, nothing too spectacular there. Getting inside here, we have, this is going to be the AV cable, so this plugs into the back of the camera, and then this is just straight component out, which, would be pretty awful quality, frankly. This is USB connection, so this connects the camera directly to your computer. Myself, I prefer to actually just take out the memory card and connect it to a memory card reader. It tends to be faster that way, and the big bonus is that you're not killing your camera's battery when it's connected to your computer. This is just a straight AC power adapter. This is the battery recharging unit. The first thing I noticed is that I kind of wish that this thing actually had built-in prongs and it would just flip open, because I like being able to carry just a single charger. I have a Canon charger like that, and it's really nice, but with this one you actually have to have a separate power cable going out to the wall. So not the end of the world, but it is one more thing to carry. And let's see here, what else do we have? There's lots of little things inside this box here. Alright, we have the Nikon strap. We have the battery pack, so this is 1080 milliamps, so that should give a decent amount of power. It's actually kind of incredible how good digital cameras have become on power, and how, especially digital SLRs, I rarely have to worry about running out of batteries, although I do typically carry 2 batteries with me. Alright, so here is the actual camera. So, the price for the D5000, the best thing to do is to just look it up on Amazon.com or Adorama, or essentially any of your local camera retailers. Right now, this camera body only goes for, I want to say it's about $600 or about $700 Canadian, or $750, something like that. I'll look up the US price, but again, always check online to find the best prices, because when I do these videos, the prices are of course always going to change. So here is the Nikon D5000. So the D5000 is essentially a step up from the entry level inside the Nikon digital SLR world. So there's the Nikon, the D60 up until very recently was the entry level camera. That has been discontinued. It's slowly being phased out. And the Nikon D3000 is the replacement. The D5000 then is, no surprise, one step up above the Nikon D3000. It offers more resolution, but the big thing, and actually one of the primary reasons I got this, was, like I mentioned, video. Now, one of the cool things about the D5000 is the screen. So this has a screen that you can flip around, you can rotate, you can, take self-portraits and see the display here. So this is something that, I mean, frankly, it's been around for a while in, other camera bodies in the Olympus world, and a few other types of designs. But when you get right down to it, Nikon has actually never done a screen exactly like this before, and it's pretty interesting. So this was just a bit of gravy on top, What I really wanted, of course, was a 720p video. So since we're talking about specs, we might as well get get right into it. So, resolution, it's a 12.9 million pixels. It's a CMOS sensor, so that's another difference. Some of the lower-end cameras are still using CCDs. A CMOS sensor, they tend to be better on noise and in terms of essentially offering less noise in a picture. The effective pixels are 12.3 million pixels. So what does that mean in terms of the what the image that you're going to get? It's going to be 4,288 by 2,848 pixels. That's a fairly sizable image. You'll be able to print, fairly large images with resolution like that. So there's no problems there. Of course, it shoots in JPEG and RAW or RAW plus JPEG. Now, unlike some other digital SLRs from Nikon, specifically this one uses SD cards. The industry, of course, is slowly but surely moving to SD. A lot of the higher end cameras like the D300 and the D700 and whatnot, they're still using compact flash cards, but SD is certainly the memory choice of the future. So this is just a little 16 gig SD card, so I'll just pop it in there, and as you can see, really simple. The battery goes in the bottom here. I'm unsure as to whether or not the battery will have any kind of a charge, but we can pop it in just to see. Let's take out the battery here, line it up. Of course, am I doing this the right way? There we go. Boom. All right. So, turn it on up here. Oh, look at that. English. Cool. So I get to pick my time zone and all that other good stuff, and day, month, year, daylight savings. Okay, I'll set the clock later, and then boom, there we go. So there is the screen. Now, as I mentioned, of course, the screen, rotates around, oops, hold on a second here. There we go. So as you can see here, I flip the screen down, and then the screen will actually change its orientation. And then if I flip it around like this, or actually no, I turn it around like this, and then go back up again, and the screen will display itself there. Now, as you notice, there's no lens on this camera. So because I have quite a few Nikon lenses, I've been a Nikon shooter for a little while now, I just ordered just the straight camera body. So if you, of course, are just starting out and you don't have any lenses, you are going to want to order the camera with an actual lens. So I will grab one of my lenses here since it happens to be within easy reach. Nikon lenses are pretty easy to put on. You just line up the little white dots, and then boom, there you go, lens on the camera. So I don't want to do. I'm not going to show too much about how the camera operates, but I will say, so there's just a simple picture. Not a great first picture, I will say. I want to sort of finish off with the talking about the specs. So we said it had SD memory cards. The frame coverage in terms of the viewfinder. So when you're looking through the little viewfinder here, you're looking at about 95% frame coverage. Higher end cameras tend to get a little bit higher, 97, 98%, but 95 is certainly not too shabby. What that means is simply when you look in the camera, you'll get a good view of everything around you. Now it has a couple of different release modes. The release mode is when you press this button here and you're actually doing the shutter and you hear that little click. It has the usual, the single frame continuous self timer, but it also has a quiet mode, which is something that Nikon had introduced. It may have even been with this camera. Now I've never tried that. We'll see how well it works, but essentially the quiet mode allows you to take a picture and have the shutter not be quite so loud. So it'll typically slow down your frame rate, I believe, meaning you won't be able to hold it down and get a burst of pictures. But if you're taking a picture of an animal or a sleeping child or something, you don't want to make noise, this is quiet mode is definitely the way to go. Now, in terms of ISO sensitivity, the higher the ISO sensitivity, the more light will come into the camera. The D5000 goes from ISO 200 on the high end, or the low end, I guess, all the way up to 3200 ISO. It has active D-lighting, which is a feature that allows you to take a picture of something and it will actually brighten up the dark areas. So that's also a nice thing to have. It has 11 autofocus points, which is actually pretty important, and I'm gonna show you why here. So we're gonna do this. Oh gosh, yeah. Now you see, I haven't actually used this before, and so it's a little bit, okay, I think, okay, there we go. So there's our live view. Okay, now it's gonna be blurry, unfortunately, because there we go. So now the focus is actually locking in, and so now if I there we go. So I can take a picture. Now it doesn't show up here, but if I were to look through the viewfinder, the 11 focus points would actually be visible here in the viewfinder, and that of course is important because it having 11 focus points allows you to select, you know, what part of the image you really want to focus on. The Nikon D60, which was the sort of the lower end model of this one, only has three focus points, which are just sort of, it's like bam, 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 right across the middle. And if you're trying to focus on something in particular, it does make things a little bit more complicated to do. So it has live mode. It has movies, right, which I mentioned. So it does 1280 by 720 at 24 frames per second, and so that is 720p resolution, and it compresses it with motion JPEG with mono sound. So motion JPEG. The good news is that motion JPEG is going to be compatible with pretty much every video editor out there. The bad news is that the file size is going to be pretty gigantic, and that means you're going to be limited to how much storage you can put in the camera in terms of how much video you can fit on a particular card. Now the good news is, of course, memory cards are pretty cheap. A 16 gig memory card can be had for not too much money today, and 16 gigs, as you can see here, it's telling me I can take 4,200 pictures with the current quality and resolution I have. So 16 gigs will take you a lot of pictures, and 16 gigs will also allow you to take a fair chunk of video. And actually, let me show you something else here. When I turn it off, see how it says image sensor cleaning? So it actually has a little anti-dust cleaning function that vibrates the sensor, or vibrates something near the sensor to shake off the dust. So that is pretty cool. And yeah, so that's about it for, I guess, some of the features and specs. It weighs 560 grams without the battery, so right now it's going to weigh a little bit more than that. Now, in terms of, I guess maybe I'll just do a little walk around on the camera here. So this is the self timer button. This button will allow you to force the flash up. This is your sort of your connection points here. So this is actually an HDMI out right here that allows you to connect out. Oh, it's sort of a mini HDMI. I think that's the actual standard here. This is a connector point. It says it's for a GPS up top here, so that's kind of cool. It'd be really cool if it was built into the camera, but I'm sure Nikon will get there someday. Back here you just have all of your typical menu controls. You can go into the menu and change, the image quality and the picture control. So right here I can change the image size, and right now it's set on large, and if I don't want that I can bump it down, to a different resolution. I can change my shooting mode. I can shoot in RAW or JPEG, etc., etc. I can play back the images here, and if I don't like an image, I can press the garbage can button to delete the image. One of the nice things is that Nikon, on some of their newer cameras, it will answer. You press a button and it will actually tell you a little bit about the feature, and then this one actually has a little bit more information. The L view button, this is the live view. Now it says press OK to record. So yeah, so right now I am recording a video. So it's kind of interesting. So I have a 16 gig card in here rather, and right up here you can see it actually says the recording time is 19 minutes and 48 seconds. So I'm going to assume that that's not 16 gigs of footage. What it is it's probably a 4 gig file size limit, because we're talking about probably FAT32 formatting on the memory card, which is what the camera uses. And so what that means, of course, is you're limited to 20 minutes per clip. 20 minutes for a single clip, that's pretty long. Frankly, you shouldn't be shooting 20-minute clips. You're going to want to cut, and do edits later. So 20 minutes, I don't think that's a painful limitation. And then I'm in playback mode right now, and I think this should play back my video clip if I press OK. Press OK to record. So yeah, so right now I am recording. there we go. Yeah, so it actually plays back with audio. So there's actually a little speaker here, which is pretty cool. And then somewhere on the front, there's going to be a microphone. I'm going to assume that that right there is the microphone port. We also have an infrared port here for a remote control for a trigger. Yeah, and then we have the auto modes up here. So you can take pictures in the green box mode, which is frankly where I take a lot of snapshots. If I'm just kind of shooting for fun, I'll usually just leave it set at that unless I want to do something interesting. There are some different Nikon scene modes. Which are kind of interesting. I'll go up here to scene mode and we can take a look. So as you can see, there's different modes here that Nikon offers you, and you can set it up for a pet portrait, and I'm assuming that the pet portrait would then give you some sort of optimized, so what it is it's setting, well, it was 1/800th of a second, now it's a 1/640 of a second, and so what that means, of course, is just if you're taking pictures of a pet, it's typically going to be moving, and so it gives you that mode. And then, of course, it does have completely manual control. So if you want to set to full manual, you want to set to aperture priority, shutter speed priority, or P, which that completely escapes me what P is. I'll have to edit that in afterwards. I think P is still a mostly automatic mode. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so there we have it. That is my first look at the Nikon D5000. Again, the screen is one of the big kind of deals with this camera, and it's one of the reasons, frankly, why people why people would be interested in this camera. So as you can see, the camera is taking a look at the camera. So that's kind of cool. At any rate, this has been Jason Dunn from Digital Home Thoughts. I hope you've enjoyed this first impressions video of the Nikon D5000. I'll definitely be putting this little camera through its paces, and I will follow up with a full review video. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day.